Hello and welcome to National Focus. I am Curvia John. In the headlines, over 4,000 apply for voter reconfirmation. Government honors the late Julius with an official funeral. And Solid Waste Corporation calls on residents to improve garbage disposal practices. The details of the headline stories and more when we return.
I love the freedom when I'm out there. Simply put, the worries from shore, none of that out there. And it's my daily bread. I learned it from my dad. My dad is one of the senior guys here who catch the biggest fish around here. And he's top with the red snappers. It's a family thing. I'm the only one fishing right now in the family. Just keeping it going. I enjoy bringing them up, man. Sometimes you have a yellowfin tuna, 400 pounds. Man, let me tell you, that's just a joy out there. I enjoy going out there and just holding the big fish. I don't lift weights, I lift fish. The morning of my fishing trip, I would get up, make a little spiced tea. Then I come down here. I have my GPS, which most fishermen are supposed to have that. Normally I prepare the day before, because whenever you're going out there, you must have ice. Ice is a must for preservation of the fish. So I always make sure I have everything the day before. My fish represents me, and I bring good quality fish ashore simply because the restaurants themselves, they have to show a quality product. Tourism and agriculture go hand in hand, that's what I think. We're all connected, it's like a big machine, and I'm just so proud to be a part of it. My name is Brandon Carlisle, and tourism is my business.
Welcome back. Over 4,000 eligible voters have already applied for reconfirmation. Voter confirmation is part of the wider electoral reform process now underway, with confirmation expected to play a critical role in shaping a more accurate and credible electoral register. The current confirmation push is grounded in the Registration of Electors Act, one of 3 key electoral reform laws passed earlier this year. While the Electoral Commission Act established the Commission's independence, and the House of Assembly Elections Act refined voting procedures, the Registration of Electors Act provides the legal framework for this nationwide confirmation exercise. It mandates how electors must verify their eligibility and give the Commission authority to remove unconfirmed names from the list.
The right to vote is one of the most important freedoms we possess. A right that generations before us fought hard to secure and protect. The Registration of Electors Act 2025, a key pillar of electoral reform and modernization, requires all registered voters to confirm their registration with the electoral office during the 12-month period ending October 14, 2026. This confirmation process is vital to maintaining an accurate and transparent voters list, ensuring that every eligible Dominican can freely exercise the right to vote when election time comes.
Prime Minister Skerrit called on citizens to make time to confirm their voter status.
The Electoral Office has reported that over 4,000 voters have already applied for confirmation of their registration as electors during the first month of the process. I urge every citizen, whether residing here in Dominica or abroad, to take a few moments to confirm your registration. Obviously, those who are residing abroad will have to come into Dominica to get confirmed as required by the law. I urge that you visit the nearest enrollment center in your constituency, follow the simple steps provided, and ensure that your name remains on the voters list.
The Prime Minister also addressed concerns that have been raised since the commencement of the reconfirmation process.
Regarding the identification documents required for registration or confirmation, Parliament, through the Registration of Electors Act 2025, provided a clear and affordable alternative for persons without a government-issued ID, such as a passport, driver's license, or social security card. Regulation 8 allows anyone without a government-issued ID seeking to have his or her name entered on the voters' register, that is to register as a voter, as a first-time person voting, to use an affidavit of identity together with the person's certificate of birth and a passport-size photograph, certified by a justice of the peace to be a true and correct image of that person as an alternative means of identification. These ID requirements were also provided for with respect to applicants for confirmation in SRO number 27 of 2025, issued by the Electoral Commission on July 24, 2025.
He explained that while those arrangements were fair, just, and consistent with the objectives of electoral reform, the Electoral Commission made a decision to issue SRO number 39 of 2025.
However, on October 14, 2025, one day before the confirmation period began, the Commission, in its own deliberate judgment, issued SRO number 39 of 2025, removing the affidavit of identity together with the person's certificate of birth and a certified passport size photograph as an acceptable alternative method of identification for confirmation. This decision, many regard to be contrary to the intent of Parliament, has placed many voters, particularly elderly, low-income, and unemployed, at some disadvantage. And though I understand the circumstance and the deep concerns the Commission would have had as to why they would have made such a change, I may want to urge the Commission to revisit its decision and to ensure greater participation.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister completed his confirmation process at the Electoral Office on Thursday. He was accompanied by his wife, Honorable Melissa Popon-Skerrit, who also finalized her process.
I did experience the same smoothness and efficiency of the process. And of course, the reality is that we all have to comply with the law. For us to remain on the register of voters, we have to be confirmed, and that's the law. I know some people have concerns. Everybody will have concerns, but at the end of the day, we all have to comply with the law. There was a case made for electoral reform, for quote-unquote cleansing of the voters' list, and that's what's required, and so we all need to comply. But until the Commission decides to change the requirements, we have to comply.
He described the voter reconfirmation process as smooth and efficient.
We need to proceed with getting confirmed, because that's part of democracy, and people's participation is important. There's nothing impeding you or preventing you from getting confirmed, and so we're urging everybody to get confirmed. And the resources, the Commission has the resources, they have the staffing, and the staff appear to be very well trained to manage and facilitate the process, and it took you a very short time and I think my understanding is that as time goes by, there is an improvement in the efficiency of the system, of the confirmation officers and the data entry clerks, and clearly this is a very smooth process, and takes very little time.
Residents of Dominica have been called upon to separate their waste and follow the collection practices of the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation. General Manager of the corporation, Mr. Florian Mitchell, gave this advice at the handing over of 4 trucks at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium this week.
Even if we have the entire fleet complement, waste management requires stakeholders' involvement. So the government of Dominica could make human resource, financial resource, equipment available, but you and I, as the custodian of the community, so we have intricate level of responsibilities. And I would like to highlight just 2 areas. So from the residential standpoint, waste is basically something that we generate as we consume goods and services. And we, as residents, we have a critical role in storing the waste that we generate. So we could have all the trucks, but if we do not adhere to the protocols by sorting at source, and as you can see in our backdrop, sort at source, separate your waste, place your waste out on the days and time as per the collection schedule. That will help greatly.
Mr. Mitchell calls on businesses to assist in keeping the city clean.
I would like us as stakeholders to know of our role. I mean, the government is clearly demonstrating by what we can see in the background. It's clear role in managing waste. But from the commercial and residential, we have our role to play. So to the commercial entity, I would call on you to ensure that you take ownership of the waste that is generated at your facility, that you utilize an approved hauler to haul your waste from your establishment to the landfill, and refrain from using unauthorized personnel or vagrants, especially in the context of the Roseau City Center, and put it all over the road and expect somebody to collect it at any time. These are all critical pillars that we as citizens could play to ensure the overall cleanliness of our community.
Minister for the Environment, Honorable Curvia Frederick, also called on citizens to work with the Solid Waste Management Corporation.
When we speak about the town of Roseau, when we speak about populated areas, there are things that we see on the sidewalks that really should not be there. And I just want to say to the listening public that the environment is a serious concern for us at the ministry, and we do have dedicated staff, limited as they are, who are committed to doing the work. But we need the consolidated efforts of the citizens to help us.
The corporation has now received 6 trucks from government this year, with an additional 2 promised by December 2025. You're watching National Focus. More when we return. Welcome back. The government of Dominica has afforded the late Mr. Julius Timothy an official funeral. The former government minister will be laid to rest on Saturday, November 15 from 2 p.m. at the St. Alphonsus Catholic Church. Interment is at the Roseau Catholic Cemetery in Roseau. Viewing takes place from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. at the St. Alphonsus Parish Hall.
Obviously, Mr. Timothy made a great contribution to Dominica in many areas. As I said before when I spoke about this, you know, I have the greatest respect for everyone who stayed in Dominica for all of his years and who labored in Dominica's vineyard in many areas, creating jobs for people and playing their part in nation building. There are many people who had opportunities to migrate and decided to stay in Dominica to work. And I have the greatest appreciation and admiration for all of those persons who have done so. And so Julius Smith was one of them. And he made his contribution. It was for him about Dominica. As you know, he left the Labour Party and came and joined the Labour Party in government, worked for us for some time.
Prime Minister Skerrit added that Mr. Timothy will be remembered for his service to Dominica.
I believe we will remember him as a true patriot, someone who was genuinely concerned about the welfare and well-being of Dominica. And so that I hope is the way that he'll be remembered. And he was prepared to work across political lines to ensure that his contribution can continue to be made wherever and whenever it was needed.
Mr. Julius Timothy will be remembered for his long tenure as deputy leader of the UWP, a position he held from the party's inception until 2005. He served as Minister of Finance, Industry and Planning from 1995 to 2000, and also as Deputy Prime Minister under the UWP administration. In 2006, he crossed the floor and joined the Labour Party administration. He was also a past president of the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce and served as the managing director of AC Shillingford and Company Limited, where he began as an employee and accountant before working his way up to the company's top position. Mr. Timothy died on 19th October 2025 at the age of 72. On the GIS notice board this evening, the Ministry of Public Works, Public Utilities and the Digital Economy informs the general public and in particular the residents of Grand Bay, Loubier, Fort Barrow, Bellevue-Chopin, Picheley and Bagatelle that on Sunday, November 16, 2025, between the hours of 10 a.m. and 3 p.m., the Loubier to Grand Bay Main Road will be closed for the removal, relocation and reinstallation of the Fort Barrow Bailey Bridge. The ministry extends its sincere apologies for all inconveniences caused. And now for your weather update. A high-pressure system is expected to remain dominant across the area during the next 24 hours. Patches of low-level clouds moving westward with the wind flow, generated by a weak low-level trough to the east of the area, could result in occasional cloudy skies with scattered showers. Occasionally breezy conditions can also be expected. Seas are expected to remain moderate during the next 24 hours, with wave heights increasing to near 5 feet on the west coast and up to 7 feet along the east coast. Northerly swells and longer wave periods are expected to lead to an increase in ground swells. A high surf advisory is in effect and may remain in place until next week Tuesday. All sea users and people living near to or traversing coastal areas are advised to exercise caution and stay updated on sea conditions. And that's all for this edition of National Focus. Be sure to follow GIS Dominica on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter. You can also drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm. From all of us here on the GIS News Production team, I am Curvia John. Thank you for watching, and remember to stay safe.